Dear students, this is the same very example that you have seen in your previous lecture. So I have bring this in here just to make you remember that you have seen under perfect competition where according to the marginal approach where MR is equal to MC, that is where profit is maximized and the profit maximizing level of output was 5. And total revenue earned, even though it is not the highest here, but as you look at the marginal cost, then you can see that any more extra production will raise the marginal cost. As a result, the firm needs to stop here because this is going to provide them with the highest level of profit and it will maximize the level of production as well, and it is also providing the optimum level of output. Now let's extend this discussion through a graphical representation, but before going into graph I would like to make you remember regarding some basic concepts. So in our very first lecture of perfect competition, I have already mentioned that under perfect competitive market, as both the buyers and sellers are price takers, so price is represented by a horizontal line because price is the same regardless of whatever quantity is purchased or sold, and therefore the demand curve under perfect competition becomes perfectly elastic. And also under a perfectly competitive market and in a competitive firm, we have seen that price is equal to MR is equal to AR. Remember, you have just seen a calculation in your lecture 2 and where we have calculated, in your lecture 1 where we have calculated MR, AR, and we have seen that both MR and AR are equal to the existing price level. Finally, we will add the marginal cost curve and the concept of cost here before introducing the graph. What is marginal cost? We know that this is the additional cost incurred by the firm by producing each additional unit of output. Now, this marginal cost curve is always upward sloping because we know that as a firm keep on producing one extra unit, the cost is also rising. Okay, so marginal cost curve is upward sloping, and this has been considered as a supply curve under the perfect competition market because marginal cost of a firm determines the quantity of good a firm is actually willing to supply at a given price. Because if the market price is greater than the marginal revenue, then a firm would definitely not like to produce anymore. And when the marginal cost is lower than the marginal revenue, that means the firm is earning some extra benefit. Only then the firm is willing to sell or to produce more and more quantities. So with all these concepts keeping in mind, now let's just look into the graph. So the graph shows that here in the vertical axis we are getting revenue and cost. In the horizontal axis we are getting the quantity, and then the horizontal line representing the given price level, which is equal to MR or AR. You can also see the upward sloping marginal cost curve, and there is also a average total cost curve, and then there is average variable cost curve. We need to remember, and I think you have already get it in your output and cost chapter, that the marginal cost cuts the average total cost and average variable cost at its minimum. So that's how the marginal cost is placed over here. You can see that The marginal cost curve is cutting the average total cost curve at its minimum in this point. And then it is also cutting the average variable cost at its minimum. Okay, and under perfect competition, we know that profit is maximized at the point where MR is equal to MC. So here MC and MR cuts at this point, and that is providing us with the optimum level of output Q star, and this is also ensuring the profit maximization of this particular firm. So under a perfectly competitive market, then profit is maximized where MR is equal to MC, and we can also represent it through a graph. Now let's say we take two other points in the MC curve. So this is point number 1 where we can see output Q1. This is point number 2 where we can see output Q2. Now let's compare it with Q star. Q star is the point where marginal cost is exactly equal to marginal revenue, and as a result the firm does not need to sell any extra unit or produce any extra unit. That is the highest amount of profit a firm can earn with the level of quantity it is producing. Below that, at Q1, we can see that marginal cost is lower than marginal revenue. So here is the marginal revenue curve and here is the marginal cost. That means the firm has the scope to produce some more units, and even then the cost is lower than revenue. So it can keep on going till the point it reaches Q star. So if it is producing at Q1, this is not an optimal or efficient allocation. Rather, it needs to increase its level of production or selling in order to maximize the profit. And then consider a point like Q2, where we can see that marginal cost is high above marginal revenue. And as a result, the firm is actually incurring loss, because if its cost is higher than what it earns as a revenue, that means the firm is definitely earning some loss. And for that reason, the firm should cut down its production and come down to Q star level, because Q star is the point where MR is equal to MC and where the profit can be maximized. So neither a Q1 or nor Q2 is an optimum level of output, or neither providing the firm with maximum level of profit. So Q star is the only equilibrium quantity, and it is also MR is equal to MC is also ensuring the equilibrium condition under a perfectly competitive market for a competitive firm. So if we summarize this graph, then we can say that as long as marginal revenue is greater than marginal cost, the firm should keep on producing, as it will generate profit for the firm. But when MR is less than MC, the firm should not produce anymore, as they will incur loss from any further level of production. And finally, MR is equal to MC ensures the highest level of profit and provides the optimum level of output at which profit of the firm is maximized. In your upcoming lecture, you will see that how a comparison between price and cost will help you to determine whether a firm should remain within the market in the short run and in long run, or they should go out of the market so that they don't incur any more losses. So we will discuss these things in great detail in the next lecture. Thanks for watching.